Hello everyone, so I'm Danielle from Cageless Readings. Today's pick a card. I'm gonna pull all the cards for each pile because I want to be able to use any card that comes up, and it might repeat in some piles, so I just want to keep that open and available. I got a new card deck. I don't know if you all have seen this in other pick a cards or not. I had never heard of it. It actually got advertised to me and I just absolutely loved it. So I haven't read any cards with it, but I'm just so excited to. It's called Citadel and it's archetypes, but I just really like the archetypes that it has on it that I was at least reading about. So I'm really excited. And then I also want to use my self-care deck with it. I don't know why. Maybe it's even because they have similar shapes. Like the cards are the same shape as this one's geometric shape on there. I don't know, but I just felt so called to do some kind of a reading with both these decks. I did choose 3 decks to do for each pile, and I just sort of put them out random order, and then I chose these and I just put them out. So we might throw some of those in. Yeah, I'm not too sure the direction this reading is gonna go. I am sort of hoping that it will talk about the stages of life you've gone through or really recognize how far you've come and where you are now. That's my intention, but as you and I probably all know, that it doesn't always work out that way. So yeah, I guess we'll see for each pile if they even have different themes or not, but I'm kind of hoping with using the archetype deck and the self-care deck that they'll kind of talk about, yeah, just like where you've grown and how far you've come. So that all being said, you have 3 crystals to choose from. The first one being this Angel Moonstone. Pile 2 is, it's actually a smoky quartz point. It does look like clear points, but I always buy smoky because I find it a little more grounding. Obviously not always the darkest smoky quartz. Okay. And then we have this rose quartz angel. And funny enough, just, I don't know if you can tell, this angel somehow has been decapitated like twice. But it's always in a way that I can just glue it back together. So I keep doing it. And I always wonder what it's trying to tell me. So if you're noticing the cracks, it's because it occasionally will leap off the shelf and decapitate itself. So yeah, whatever that means, I still haven't figured it out. It hasn't done it in a long time, but when I first got it, it did it a lot. Okay. Anyways, I'm not sure. I'll just play it by ear because I don't really know what's going to come up in this reading. I might just do a regular Reiki session, or I might do a singing bowl session at the end. But because I don't know what's going to happen in this Reiki session, or sorry, in this card reading, I'm just going to play it by ear at the end of the piles. So if you're interested in that, you can go to the time step in the description box below and go from there if you want to receive it or not. All right, take some deep breaths now and choose your pile if you haven't already, and I'll see you all in your card readings. Hello, pile 1. I'm just going to quickly pull all the cards for you, and then we're going to get into your card reading. So I'll just fast forward this section so you do not have to waste your time watching me do that. Okay. So let's see how this is gonna play out. We have the Gambler, loss, risks. We have the Forgotten, missed opportunities, fear of failure. Then we have the Runaway, secrets running from problems. the Pilgrim, Opportunities, Growth. And then we go into the Here, Unseen Potential, Hesitation, and the Founder, Foundations and Community. And then I'm not sure if you can see, as I was pulling them, I was sort of asking, what is the past you? Where have you come from? Where are you now? And then where are you going? So we'll tap a little bit deeper into this energy, but I think right now it does feel like you're somewhere in between these two cards, but we'll see that a little bit later. Let's see what you got. You got an affirmation card and a reflection card. Meditate on what your heart needs in order to grow and be happy and at peace. How can you implement those needs into your daily life? And bring your attention to your body. Why are you holding tension? Take a few moments to relax. Nice. We'll put those down here, and then I'll put them more in frame later. But I've noticed when I was shuffling, like the Be Assertive card just like flew out of the deck. That doesn't happen very often for me. They usually don't just throw cards, they let me pull them nicely. So I feel like this is a pretty big one for you. And then Remain Positive was the second one I got. So same thing. These are kind of advice cards. So I'll just put them down here. I just wanted to acknowledge them. But now let's really get into these cards here. They are so beautiful. Yeah, I so love these archetype cards. I wonder, I've never heard of them before. They're just so stunning. Okay, so just tuning into the energy. Angels so far, so how I get a lot of messages is they all show me a lot of archetypes from my own life. So like people I know that I associate with certain archetypes, and they'll show me this person and be like, it is like this, or this person's experiencing this trait or this personality or this person's fears, and then they'll show me situations. So they're very big on using my personal memories or memories of other people, stories that I've heard or referenced at. So a lot of my guidance is actually like memory based, and I've always tried to explain this to a few people where it's not quite clairvoyance, because there is that, but there's also this deep understanding and knowing at the same time. If I had to go by just clairvoyance, it would be so hard for me to understand the concept, because I find like looking at something wouldn't mean enough. It'd be sort of just blank looking at something. You could get any kind of perception from it. So they always give me like this knowing with it, and it feels like a memory. Like they all of a sudden give me a memory. And I'm just mentioning this because they're telling me that the person that they were showing me for in my life that I had experienced, who was in the same state that you were in the past, is similar, but the archetype isn't quite right. So they're just telling me to mention that I might not quite explain it quite accurately, because they're saying the person that I knew that closest resembles the patterns or habits you might have had wasn't quite exactly like the ones you had. So please forgive me if it's not quite on par, because they were saying, essentially they were telling me that I just didn't have this personality that you like. I didn't have the character or the archetype that you were embodying in the past in my life, exactly to the point that you were. I hope that makes sense. I think I said so many words. Basically, the example they're giving me, they said, isn't 100% accurate with who you were. It's similar, but there's something there they're saying that isn't going to quite connect with you. So maybe even I could just ask them now, like, to make it more clear for me. But anyways, where it's showing me you come from, and this is really kind of a beautiful journey. So I should just start with, like, I see over here a sort of wounded feminine expression. So it says the gambler, the loss and risks, sorry. And I actually see this as scarcity mindset, not really being sure of trusting others. I actually get like trusting. This is where they're telling me I could be wrong. I feel like it's having a hard time trusting to go deeper in relationships with men. So yeah, they almost get like there is like more of a societal pressure or need for, say, like a male partner. They are saying male, so sorry if you are a male watching this and not interested in men. So it just, I always go by the strongest general energy, but the how they're portraying it is they're saying like where you came from was very like peer pressure, societal pressured, influenced, and I just see this, yeah, like you say would seek out relationships or romantic partnerships, but then you wouldn't be able to fully give yourself to them, fully open up. I think you were very nurturing in this relationship, and that the romantic partner, I think they often fell in love with you or fell very in attraction with you. But I feel like for your half, they always felt a little guarded and a little bit like, um, yeah, like you couldn't be yourself. And I think it was a reflection for you at the time that you had some shame around who you were and you didn't want to fully see yourself completely. And I want to make sure this is coming off right. It's almost like I get this as very youthful energy. So I see it as like a time when you're like a young adult or a teenager, and you know, like it's so easy to feel shameful for things that aren't societally accepted, or people have bullied you for. And I'm talking about that kind of shame because I see this as something where once you're an adult, you can grow and realize that that's not something worth being ashamed of. But because of all these opinions coming at you in these younger years, it's hard, and we feel guilty and shameful about things we really shouldn't. But I just get that energy. So you feel like there is like this protection of self, and like, yeah, they say like scarcity, like you did feel like you had to take care of yourself. You felt like you had to be careful who you trusted, and if you got opportunities, you had to like take advantage of them. So I'm trying to think, like, say you had a job and at the end of the day they would let you take home like extra food if you worked at a restaurant or a fast food place or a grocery store. If something was about to expire, you could take it home. I feel like you were in a place where you might have needed to take all that stuff home, maybe to help support your family, maybe to support yourself. Maybe you weren't even at home anymore with your parents or family members. But they're showing me that energy, like you really had to like be strong and independent and protect yourself. And I feel like, yeah, there was like this block in truly feeling seen or connected or understood by the people around you. And I think even because of that block, that's why you try to provide that to other people. So I get like a very unequal relationship in the sense that you could see others and understand them and you put that intention in, but because of where you were and how you didn't feel safe and how you felt like ashamed or different, you didn't let them fully see you back in the past. So I really want to emphasize that. That's in the past. Like I said, it feels like young energy. It feels young adult, teenage years, very typical for that time. So please don't beat yourself up if you're not liking any of what I'm saying. It's so normal. I mean, that's why I feel like we see that all the time in young people. It's just so easy to feel outcasted or ashamed of who you are because the mainstream people aren't like that or say it's weird. And then yeah, and then I even think that goes so perfectly with the fear of failure. So I almost get this like, because there was this insecurity and this like need to do and support yourself, do everything yourself and support yourself by yourself. Because I almost feel, I don't know, like maybe in your family systems, maybe your parents weren't very reliable, maybe they went job to job, or it could just even be that you didn't have a good relationship with them and you weren't sure how long you had with them. Like you weren't sure if they'd kick you out or if you didn't feel like in an emotionally great place to keep living with them. So you might have left your home early. And then I feel like this, it says fear of failure, but I just get like not knowing where to go in the world, not knowing where you belonged, like this feeling like there's no ground to support you under your feet. You had no support systems, you didn't feel like it. And I don't know if we'll get into that later. I don't know if you're going to see later that maybe you did have support systems, but they were all just not in good places emotionally themselves at the time. But if you even see this card, like just look at that poor guy. Like they just are like falling and there's nothing there to catch them. And I feel like that's how you felt. Um, very isolated, very alone. And like, yeah, they just keep telling me you didn't feel seen. Like you couldn't be seen and you didn't feel seen and you didn't feel understood. And if you even look at this, like there's not a lot of abundance in these cards. They're pretty blank. Like there's not much going on. And then we see as you're going through these other stages, look how fulfilled these cards are. Like look at this one. Like there's so much going on. There's so many flowers in it. Same thing with this. Like the cards get nice and filled out. And I think this even is a great explanation of like how you mature in this energy. So it's like you get to a place where you start to be able to leave this yeah, in the next stages. So it just seems like it was, I think, a very tough time, a very isolating time. And in some ways you learned a lot about how to take care of yourself, how to be strong. I feel like this was very strong masculine energy you had to be in. This taking care of yourself, getting things done, doing what you needed to do, making sure you could provide for yourself and take care of your needs. And then I think the transition, and especially with you choosing the Moonstone Angel, like this, like moon, I mean, moon in itself is all about the feminine energy and the shadow side and sort of embracing your feminine power and not being afraid to see the shadows of yourself or your shame or any of that and finding empowerment in it. And I think that's just so perfect with this. Like even like this, I just see this as like queen energy, like the here, like look at that. I don't know. I don't get king energy. I get queen energy very strongly from it. So I just want to give you some encouragement about where this card reading is going, because I feel like it is you embodying this powerful, divine, feminine, like queen energy, not princess, not little joker energy or anything like that. I know it sounds kind of funny to use those words, but it feels like grown, powerful, respected, not afraid, strong in who they are, know who they are, women. Yeah, or it could be a man if you're a man, but that's just like the reference that they're using is strong in the emotional body, not afraid of your emotions, not afraid of who you are. And where this here is talking a lot, like when you're younger, people being able to make you feel shameful or feel unaccepted or just lesser than, or very like how your peers saw you is kind of how you could feel. And it makes so much sense for the age. And then I think for like the family system you came from, I think it's sort of what you were taught. But I want you to know that this, you might be in this energy already, or you're like heading there next, of this just strong in who you are. Like even look at this, like it's like I didn't even really notice this, but it's like you get your crown and you get your castle. Like you are getting everything out of life. You know what you deserve, you get what you want, you're not afraid of it, you're not ashamed of it. It's not this lack mentality, it's this abundance mentality. This, the world and everyone in it wants the best for you. And I just hope that you're getting this energy so strongly. It's so clear to me. And I just really want to say, like, this is like what you talk about, seeing someone doing a complete, I want to say 180, but I'm like, that doesn't even qualify enough. I feel like it's a 360. Like you did all this work and you came back around to a totally different version of yourself. Like a 180, I know it's the opposite of what you were in, but it just doesn't quite describe it enough for the amount of like change that happened here. This would almost feel like a different lifetime if you're going to look at these two different energies. Like this is like a different person. This is like, it almost feels, yeah, like a different lifetime. And this is a whole another incarnation, but this is all being done within one life. So it's so amazing that it's talking so much about the feminine energy, because I feel like accepting and exploring your feminine energy is what can make you do this much shifts and changes in your life. And I don't think you could do it without embracing that shadow side, that emotional side, looking at the things that made you feel ashamed and then realizing that they don't hold the power over you anymore. It's super impressive work to have done. It's really, yeah, like great job. Really great job. So anyways, I want to talk a little bit more about the middle, because from what I'm seeing, the majority of the people watching this is on this card if we're going to go by like stages. So they're just like a couple steps away from getting into this. Like, oh, it's funny. They're like saying like you broke out yourself out of the cage. You set yourself free, and they're saying like you realized that you held the key to your freedom. It was nothing outside of yourself. Like you were the only one who could change this for yourself. You were like, and it's even so powerful and so mature and so incredible that you came to this conclusion, because they're like, to see the jump from here to here, this would have been tricky. How would I put it? It's almost like how some of us can accidentally give our power to other people and we don't realize it. We have no idea. And I mean, all of us do it in some way, but they were saying like, it was like you changed what you identified as. You changed how you worded things. Like, I'm trying to ask for example. It's like even in expressions you use. You maybe when you were younger, you might have said, shit happens, or life. They're saying they're like expressions where they're kind of like negative expressions where you can say like life. Oh, I don't understand it. Maybe it's not an English expression. Maybe it's that. Maybe you're not English speaker, and this is your second language, because that would almost make sense. Because I go to say, and then I'm like, I don't know what they're trying to say, but they're basically just saying that there is some things that you associated with. There's some things that you said that in a lot of ways people say so often that we don't even realize is kind of disempowering or is like just very negative. And I don't know what happened. Either you just naturally stopped using those things, or something glued in and you're like, oh, like I can change anything in my life. I can change anything. It's just so funny. I even get like light bulb moment. I'm not sure if there was an experience that happened. There's definitely an event that did happen. They were saying like something sparked a seed, and then it made you realize that you wanted something different. You wanted this empowered life. Yeah, their flowers seem important. They're telling me that you learned through somebody else. And so for some of you who are watching this, it might be that like say a family member was just talking or saying something about experience they had, and like the way they're talking about it made you like be like, I don't ever want to be saying what you're saying right now or doing what you're doing right now in 20 years or 30 years or 10 years. Like I want something different. I'm going to change my life. And it's funny, they're saying like to a lot of people that moment wouldn't seem important at all, but it's like something clicked for you in that moment and you decided, I'm not going to be that way. And so then you weren't. So it's super cool. It's like, this is such a powerful moment that happened. And I think for the majority, like I was saying, you're now in this like opportunities and growth stage. So it's super awesome. Like sorry, I'm like getting so excited for you. I'm getting tongue tied. So I see here like the runaway secrets, running from problems. I think this is actually talking about what you freed yourself from. So this old energy was, maybe they say a lot about you having a lot of shame. So I'm sorry if that's like upsetting, but I get that sometimes when I say that, there's someone who's watching this pile who doesn't really like that and feels that gross shame feeling again. Please don't feel that. I'm just talking about it because I want you to see how far you've come. It's not because you should be shameful of any of that. You absolutely shouldn't. There's nothing wrong with you. There's nothing for you to be ashamed of. You are a beautiful, beautiful soul. And I'm sorry that something happened to you, or multiple, I should say. I feel like multiple things happened that cemented that belief within you, because yeah, you shouldn't be feeling that way at all. And I just want to point out and acknowledge you for getting out of that cycle or that stuckness, that cage they keep saying. Like, what a beautiful card, guys. Like, honestly, I feel like this is really like, you are the beautiful rose, but you're not even just a rose. And this is actually such a good analogy, I think, for whoever picked this pile, because you're not just one thing. And I think that's the problem with like the old way people treated you and saw you. Is they thought you had to be just one thing, decide on being one way, one way of being, one hobby, one whatever it is. And you not fitting into that box, realizing that you have multiple things you love, there's multiple things you're interested in, there's so many different depths to you. Like, if you're a woman, maybe you're more of a tomboy sometimes, but you also can be very feminine. And if you're a man, maybe you can like some really feminine things, but then you also love like very masculine. And I even get like, if there's a man watching this that maybe even likes very competitive sports where there might even be a little bit of physical contact, like it might be a little like rough. They're saying like wrestling, but I don't think it's actually wrestling. Just like that kind of energy though, like that very like masculine, like needs to get that like extra energy out without physically hurting someone, but kind of being able to rough around. It's like that, I don't want to say boy energy, but you see young boys often like wrestle a lot when they just start like getting lots of testosterone in their body, and they just need to do that to kind of release it and not keep that energy in them and get feeling aggressive and gross. So anyways, that just seems like such a powerful moment for you. And then you stopped running away is how I see it. You stopped running away from the guilt, the shame you felt, from having tough conversations with people you loved, from having what are they saying? Like controversial conversations. There we go. I think it's just basically, instead of not being truthful about disagreeing with something said or an opinion, or they talk a lot about this being referred to by your identity. So if some of you felt really boxed, like they said about who you were allowed to be and who people thought you were, you started to not just let that pass by. You started actually talking to people and having conversations and making it known that you have multiple archetypes in you. You're so multifaceted and it's beautiful. And your life is so much more abundant for it because you're not just one thing. One thing didn't know where they belonged. So the Pilgrim, this is where I see most of you. It's also a gorgeous card. Like, look at this. Just like, this is you, your beautiful light shining in the middle of all of this. And because you've done, and I think obviously you're still doing some work around it, but I think compared to where you were, it does also feel like a lifetime ago. So if Summer, you're here, you're like, how can I feel like another lifetime has gone by? It's just, you're going to keep going with it to a point where none of this is even within you anymore, is how I see it. Like I think with just how the energy is on the earth these days and the resources people have, and just that like the feminine energy that the planet is in now, I think is what's allowing you to basically live multiple lifetimes in one life, which is super cool, super incredible. Really goes to show that you aren't destined to whatever people said you were. And that's really powerful for this pile, because I think you, as a kid, thought, like, this is what's going to happen. This is what my family was like. This is what the people or my peers did. And this is what I'm destined for. And you didn't like it. So, and I feel like it was like put on you and you felt caged by it, or not like it belonged to you. So that all being said, that is not going to be your life at all. And it's all for the best, because I just see this abundance and opportunity. And I even see roses as like things that you love and you're excited about, and just like makes your heart light up even more. So it's just going to keep perpetuating into this more love state. Like, that gratitude state everyone talks about, that's going to be you, because just everything is going to be bouncing back this love that you're putting out, and this excitement and this joy and this just like happiness. And all that came from opening the door and realizing that you weren't going to run away anymore from the things you didn't like. So you might not even realize just how powerful that decision was. And this moment, whatever this moment was for you, all that changed how you saw yourself and what you wanted for yourself, that really like cemented it that you weren't gonna be that way. Super cool. You know what? I think these are roses, but I keep thinking poppy. So if poppies mean something to you, red poppies, I mean, I'm in Canada, so I feel like, I mean, red poppies are all about Remembrance Day, and I don't know why that's coming up. But yeah, I'll just leave that there. Maybe it means something to you. And then I just want to talk about these next stages. Yeah, because like I was saying, I honestly think that you're just like, I think they're saying like two steps away from this next thing. This, like, they said, like, getting, it's like being crowned, but I don't want that the sound wrong. Like, it really feel like it's like from you, um, really stepping into that empowered version of yourself, because you already are, but this next step is like you truly being in a constant state of feeling empowered, being proud of who you are, of your emotions, of what you have to offer. And it even says, like, so it says unseen potential. This is hesitation, but I'm actually seeing it as no more hesitation. If you still have time to time some doubts in yourself and your intuition and your emotions, I feel like this is talking a lot about your emotions. It's like when you step into this, that won't be a thing anymore. You will trust yourself. You will know, and you'll have that deep knowing and connection with your higher self, with your inner child, with all these aspects of yourself. And they just really talk about this being like an empowering, peaceful time for you. Yeah, peaceful. It feels so important to say that, peaceful, because I think maybe over here this is kind of a stage where there can be a lot of noise going on in your head, because there's still a little bit this battle of overcoming old subconscious beliefs and new beliefs, and they're kind of like in that meshing of like, okay, I don't want to believe those unconscious ones anymore, but I'm still like having to like dissect them and watch out for them and ask myself why I'm doing it. This is like the most work, this stage here that you're in, where you do the most work, you feel maybe the most tired, and the next step is that your work pays off, essentially. This abundance and this beautiful place. Like the foundations and community, like this is just the ultimate card for any pal to be getting. Like look at that. Like I get, like, you get your community, you get your support system, and I get that they're safe. And I like that there's a hammer here, because it keeps telling me that there'll be continuous growth. So you'll keep meeting more amazing people. You keep having interactions that inspire you and like keep you growing. So don't think, oh, once I do all this, what's left? There's so much more for you to learn. And there's so many things that you don't even know exist yet that you're going to be excited about. And yeah, if there's like a beautiful home you're trying to manifest in, I see it coming in for you all. And I mean, this could be my bias because I am moving to a mountain town in under a week. If you're watching this, it will be that week that I'm moving. But I do see, like, here, I see your home being like either near an ocean or near mountains, or some of you it's both. So if you're in Canada, I would say you're moving to Vancouver because there's mountains and an ocean there. Or if you're in, it could be like Cape Town, there's an ocean and mountains there. The south of France, I'm just like asking, where else are these places? Yeah, okay, that's all I'm getting. I'm limited by my geographical knowledge here, but I just get, yeah, like they are talking that the two might be pretty close to each other, or there might be a lake and mountains, or hills, desert hills. It might even be in Spain too. Oh, I'm so sorry. There's like kind of a deserty terrain, but then there's like water there too. I don't know. Anyways, that doesn't matter. That's getting too specific for a general card reading, but I just see so many beautiful things, and it feels like a long-term move too. Like I'm seeing like so many seasons pass, but the abundance keeps coming. And it's so funny because I am getting so into foraging these flowers. I wish I could remember what they mean, but they're purple and they thistly and they look like they should not be a nice flower, but they're actually really great for you. And they attract bees. And I don't know, maybe this is just a confirmation that this new home you're attracting in, if you care about the environment, if you're very passionate about it, I shouldn't say if you care about it, but like if you feel a little more called to than most people to protect it and work in harmony with it or live in harmony with it, I think this is a confirmation for you. As yeah, there's something about this where I see these as like planting them and they're being like um a benefit for the land, for the insects, and the insects that are so important to us and pollinating our crops and our other things. I just feel like, yeah, you're going to live in harmony with the land. So I should just say that. That's way less complicated than what I was saying. And just the season thing seems important because I think it's going to be a more of a long-term place that you're moving to. I don't know if it's a forever home. I think someone who's watching this pile, you're gonna have two houses at some point in your life. And that might seem weird. This could be a specific message, but they're saying this is gonna be the main home. This is like where you feel at like just it's your place. You love it. The energy's amazing there. Everything you could ever want is there. But then they're saying, but there's more work you have to do. So you might have like a smaller home somewhere else. I don't know where, but this will be your main place where you'll have for a while. So anyways, that is pretty specific. So please just keep it in mind. It's a general card reading. So yeah, just to get you through this like next little hop. I mean, you guys already done the hardest work. I just really want you to know that, okay? You've done the hardest part. You just have to be consistent and then you're gonna be in this amazing place. And yeah, I feel like this pile probably should do a lot of work with the moon, just because of your energy and you're really trying to take hold of the feminine. I was kind of asking about Kundalini energy, but they're saying moon energy. So moon is important. Kundalini could be important for some of you, but for some reason, physically working with the moon right now, I think will get you where you want to go faster. Trying to ask why. Sorry. Sometimes my camera will just pause when I hit 30 minutes. So, hoping that I'm talking again whenever it paused. So, I was just talking about why the guides were saying that the moon energy right now is really important for you. And so that would look like to me if there's any eclipse coming up, whenever you see this, do a manifestation thing on those days and a release thing. Like you just write down like a listing, like I release the need to be right all the time. I release the need to control the situation around me. Those do not have to apply to you. Those are just what's coming off my mind. Like just they're saying to write what you're releasing and then like burn it if it's possible. Yeah, they like burning. I was like, can they rip it up? Worst case, you can rip it up, but they're saying burning. There's something about that that's very powerful, especially with the energy. I don't know what's happening whenever this person is seeing this, but it could be an eclipse, a full moon, or a new moon, they're saying, or you could do all three. Yeah, because they're just saying something about the energy. And when I was asking about it, they're saying it's the energy is going to be strong, like a pyramid. It's going to be like sending, like whatever is happening energetically, it's almost like you're going to be in a pyramid form, sending it up. It's just like that level of power. Yeah, I don't know. I'm sorry. I don't totally understand why they're saying it's so different, but they're really insistent that the moon energy right now is really, really intense. Yeah. And that being said, if any of you have groups of people you do these things with, I would even do that as like a ceremony. So like say you all get together, you don't have to read your lists to each other, but you just write down what you want to release and you burn it. And then you call in what you want and set an intention for what you want to come in. That would be very powerful. So groups of 3 or 5 would be ideal, is what they're telling me, because they like the power of those numbers. And I think one is a triangle and one is a pyramid amount of points. So I think that's why they're telling me that. Okay, sorry. Camera battery died now. A lot of things pausing this. So I do just want to add again that this could be very specific. So only do it if it resonates, like all things I suggest. They're only suggestions. So with that listing, if you're going to do the new moon or eclipse or full moon ceremony, and yeah, the more I think about it, they're like showing me to do it with somebody else would be better than doing it by yourself, because the witness energy is going to be very powerful. And also, anytime you do something in a group, it amplifies the power of it. So they just showed me group 2, 3. They said, if there's some people, they're like, there's only one other person that I would do this with. So that's totally fine. 2, 3, or 5. And then they show me everyone lighting like a candle. It is a candle. It's kind of funny. And then maybe it's a sage candle. It's a white candle. I don't know if that matters, but a white candle. And then taking your list of the things you're going to release, you're going to each, at one at a time, set it on fire and like drop it into like a metal bowl so that it burns out and no one gets hurt. But as you're about to burn it, it's important that you say, and you have them witness, so you say it out loud, I release. Oh, I just lost it. They just told me it. I release all that I've written, and I no longer allow it to defy me or to identify me. It's like a wording choice I'm having a hard time understanding. I no longer let it defy me, I think is the word they're using. But of course, just always use what resonates. But they're saying it's important that you say, I release. And if you feel called to say a certain thing, say that. So I release what I've written, and I no longer allow it to defy me. And I think they're saying, I'm hoping that's proper English, but they're saying that like it's important that you say you're taking back your power. You're no longer identifying with whatever it is that you're releasing, and you are just straight up saying, I release it. And the people hearing you say it, it's going to be very powerful for them to be witness. So not just the universe is hearing, but also them. That's going to like amplify it. And then, the number of you is also going to amplify it. So anyways, they really like that for a full moon or new moon ceremony. And like they were saying, you don't actually have to say, I release every item. It actually feels just as powerful or more powerful to just say you release it and burn it. So yeah, super cool. Like I said, very specific, but it feels very important. But they just keep saying the moon energy is going to be great. It's going to be really powerful. This is where I should know more about astrology, so I could explain to you why that would be so important. And then I think it's just going to really solidify, like energetically stepping into the next step. So anyways, going back to these cards. So it says here, this was the reflection card. Self-care is so much more than a beauty regimen or an external thing you do. It has to start within your heart to know what you need to navigate your life. A pedicure doesn't last, but meditation every day does. And then it just says, meditate on what your heart needs in order to grow, and be happy and at peace. How can you implement those needs into your daily life? Yeah, this feels very powerful after kind of going through each archetype and each personality you've gone through and all that stuff. And I feel like you're already doing this, but this is just like a nice little reminder that to keep doing it, it's working, it's getting you where you need to go. And it's just helping you touch base with yourself and know what's like aligned with you and what you need. And then we'll read this other one here where it says, because one is content with oneself, one doesn't need others' approval. Because one accepts oneself, the whole world accepts him or her. That is also very true. And I think this is so appropriate because this is what I think you've learned, right? Like, is that how you feel about yourself, the confidence you carry yourself with is actually what determines what other people think of you and your value and sets you free and who you attract in, right? Ultimately. So I think you already know this, but here's just a reminder, I guess. So it says, bring your attention to your body. Where are you holding tension? Take a few moments to relax. I really like that too. So just especially with doing Reiki and realizing that a lot of our injuries start with an emotional block where we're like holding like stress or anger or shame is such a big one, guilt. Yeah, we usually hold it in a spot. So even just taking time to go within our body and ask what it wants us to know, it can even be enough for us to slowly get rid of it. So I just think there's so much power in that. And then I like the remain positive. Honestly, there's so many great things coming your way. Really, please remain positive because look at what you're getting. Like I was saying, like you get your like beautiful home, your castle by your standards, these amazing people, so much growth. And yeah, I don't know if I talked a lot about how I saw, yeah, that you're going to keep growing and building stronger and stronger communities and connections. But I also see that they're going to be safe connections with like this little, I think it's like a mouse with, like technically I think it's a rat, but mouses are cuter. So I'll say that. They have like a sword, and I just feel like that's really saying like, they respect you and care about your best interest, and it won't just be you watching someone else's back. It will be a mutual relationship now. So yeah, remain positive. There's so much good things coming your way, and sometimes we do so much work and we're like, why hasn't it come in yet? Don't worry, it is. Like I really see, like I was saying, I think you're 2 steps from this, and then ultimately it won't be very long after that that you get this, because this energy is just so powerful that you'll just be an ultimate attractor. And be assertive. Yeah, okay, so this is a reminder to, if you have a habit of people pleasing or underplaying who you are, here's a reminder saying you're just perfect and great as you are. You're a better version of yourself. You're a brighter, more beautiful, joyous version of yourself when you're not making yourself small or hiding, like they say, behind a mask, or trying to like, I don't want to say people please, but like not be your 100% to you. And just like look how radiant the person is underneath it, right? Like they're beautiful. They're bringing out like healing light and love and making rainbows everywhere. And so why would you cover that up, right? Like who would be like, that rainbow's so ugly. I wish it wasn't in the sky. It just doesn't make sense. And that's kind of how I see you. They're like, you're so beautiful. You're so radiant. You make things better. Don't dull yourself down. Be assertive in who you are. Okay, so I think this is all I have for the pile. I really hope that you guys have a wonderful day or evening, whatever it is for you. At this point, I still don't know what I'll do for the healing session at the end. Maybe at the end of pile 2 I'll know. But if you want to receive a Reiki session or a crystal bowl singing session, it will be at the end of this whole card reading. The timestamp is in the description box below. And hopefully I'll catch you all around. Hello, Pile 2. So you all chose the Smoky Quartz point. I am absolutely loving this deck so far, so I'm super excited to pull it for you now. I'm just gonna quick do this and we'll get into your card reading. Okay, so let's see what y'all got. So I think I did do 2 for each sort of time in your life that you're at. So this is where you were. We have the Weaver, Rediscovery, Transition, the Wise One, Tradition, and Order. Ooh, very interesting. So it's interesting you got 2 of these eyes. Very interesting. And then we have the Walker, the Unknown, a Journey, the Hunter, Sure-footedness, and Predestination. And then where you're going, we have the Warrior, And Sentinel, determination, certainty, perfectionism, burnout. Don't worry, too. I should say I usually read cards, not always as they say. So if you're like, what? Don't worry, we'll get into that. That one did sound a little weird. Okay. Interesting. Part of me is almost like, is this where you came from and this is where you're going? And then I just pulled it reverse on me for some reason. Let's look at these and then we'll figure it out. I'll ask a few more questions and be like, yo, are you guys messing with me? Wow, it is so interesting how these cards, each pair goes together so well, though. Just randomly. Okay, so you chose the Angel Therapy deck without knowing. We have Law of Attraction, Earth Angel, and God Box. So we got some manifestation stuff going on here and some confirmation on purpose here too. So we'll put those down there and I'll talk a little bit more about them later. I know you can't see them super great, but I'll put them more into frame when we're talking about them. And then you got 2 reflection cards. The perfect man of old looked after himself first before looking to help others. Ooh, that feels important for the burnout card. If monks and nuns do not cherish their time of practice, they will have nothing to offer the world. Ooh, which also feels like these are advice cards for this energy over here. So let me just take a second here and just double check they're not pulling a switch of the order of which I asked these cards to be in. Okay, so I'm understanding what they're trying to say now. So this isn't like life phases as much as this is just like a short cycle, and this, from what I can see, is talking about you getting very busy and not having enough time to do your self-care, to value yourself, to do things you want to do. And almost like when it said burnout, I was thinking, this is really weird. That doesn't really make sense. But I think this is just a card reading that you stumbled onto as a reminder to not work yourself so hard and to prioritize yourself and what you want and what you like doing for fun and you time. So I just want to clarify that in case some of you are like, what, this is where I'm heading. I think this is actually where you are right now. But they're almost saying like you need to take some backward steps because you had some really good balance and flow and time for yourself, and says order. And this was kind of like you were in this, you kind of, I think, got a little busy, and then now you're in this like could be a burnout stage. They're saying it's time for you to really set boundaries on your time and your energy that you have to give to people. Yeah, super interesting. So I don't know if this is going to be applicable to anyone. This is a little off topic, but looking at these cards, it kind of got me to go into internal kind of reflection that I do. And the angels were like, maybe you should mention it to this pile. So I'll mention it because maybe you are some form of physical healer or energy healer or card reader or really anything to do with interacting with people in a professional sense. So with card readings, I realized that there's some cards that are really easy to read. So I would almost put that as people who are pretty open and receptive. But then sometimes I see cards where I wouldn't say they're guarded, but they're like murkier to read in the sense that these people are really good mirrors for others. So that could even just be part of their life. And when I see Earth Angel, that usually means that you're a natural amplified mirror, I would say. So everyone mirrors qualities in other people, but I feel like if you're here to be a light worker or you're here healing people, you mirror qualities to that person or to people you come with, and it'll be different qualities to everyone. that they need to work on within themselves, or they need to see within themselves, but they might not want to see. So you'll have attributes of that, and it won't be your dominant personality by any means, but those qualities will stand out more to people. Yeah, because they need the lesson themselves, and you just existing kind of just is to help people see that within themselves. So that being said, there is a lot of earth angels out there, and you being one of them. But I do believe you're going to interact with a lot of people in your profession or just in your day to day where you'll meet them and there'll be qualities about this person that you don't love. And it's not that you like dislike them necessarily, but like you'll see them and you'll get an impression, and you almost get this knowing that they'll be like this archetype or this personality. And then it's funny because with people like that, you almost have to step aside, like step out of your like ego. And I don't want that to sound harsh. Like I'm saying, I do this all the time, especially with card reading, because it's very weird for me to look at someone's cards and be like, I'm feeling a little weird about this. Like I feel like I have an ego knowing of the person is how I would put it. Like sometimes it's almost like there's a recognition, but like it's almost like a dislike, and it's not very normal. Usually when I see someone's personality or whatever in cards, they're very wonderful and that's their true essence. So to me, that's a red flag that they're mirroring something. There's an attribute in them that they're mirroring to me, that my ego doesn't like, because it either has it in itself or it has a history with people where I had a problem with that attribute. So anyways, I think this is coming up because I think you might be, either you have a client that you're seeing that you have this weird emotion going on with, where you can feel like for some reason you don't necessarily like them. It doesn't mean you hate them by any means, but there's just something about them that puts you off. And this is like a little message to go a little bit deeper and like see under that, like what's under that, what's the truth under it, because this is actually just like a mirror reflecting at you. It's not their true self. And in some situations, this is actually when you can see that the person that you're treating or you're interacting with actually just has a lot of other people's stuff in their auras. Sometimes that's also a message. So you'll have to like go deeper under the layer, because then you'll see that this person is an earth angel and they're not necessarily mirroring things at you, but they actually just don't know how to properly detach or not take on other people's junk. And that could also be something you need to help someone with. I'm not sure, but this is coming up for you. And when I was thinking about this pile, the guides were like, you should mention this. And maybe this will help you. Maybe it will mean nothing. Maybe in 2 years, all of a sudden, you'll think about this moment of me explaining this. I don't know. But yeah, so it's interesting when there's that like weird response we don't understand. And I'm assuming that like most people will just generally like other people unless something's mirrored at them that they don't like. Or like we said, you can pick up on an energy, but it's actually not their energy. It's like an energy they've allowed to attach to them. So both cases, it's important to, one, help that person release that, or two, get under there so you can actually see the person and not just the ego response that you're having. Yeah, so that's random. I think this has to do with the practice, though. I think whoever you are, you're interacting with a client where you don't understand why that keeps happening, and just with your energy too. Like I think you're a very busy practitioner, who should maybe consider. I mean, obviously, please only ever take what resonates. But just from what I'm seeing here in the energy that you might be in right now, you might need to give yourself some more time or take more breaks, go on a vacation. This is like saying that you've had this thought and they just want to validate you that, yes, you deserve it. Take the time. Don't worry about finances. Don't worry about people needing you, because if you burn out, if you crash, if you get really sick because you aren't taking care of yourself and energetically you're expending too much of it on others, then that's not going to help anyone in the long run, right? Like it always takes twice as long to come back from that, because our bodies are usually pretty upset that we didn't self-honor when it was asking for it. So yeah, I'm just gonna say that. So suggesting maybe to not, it doesn't mean you have to do it forever, but right now, your body, whatever it is, it's just tired. It could be that you actually have like an immune compromise right now, or maybe there's a lot of flus going around where you are, and they're just saying like, just take on less people right now. Really like get back to feeling good and energized and well rested. Before you kind of take on this level of workload or responsibility. And yeah, they just, I mean, it's so clear. I think if you are looking at these cards, like shielding, energy shielding, very important. And like setting energetic boundaries and just, yeah, taking care of what you need. There's definitely a message too around maybe even you taking on other people's energies. I don't want to say this is for everyone because I really do feel that there's a lot of wisdom in this pile. Like I feel like you've been practitioners for a while. This one thing that might be your fatal flaw is that you're just over givers, and that's, I think burnout can be a pattern that you've had. But they do say it goes in like fluctuations. Like, so when I was looking at this, I was a little confused because yeah, the timeline was really weird, but they're telling me this is kind of like cycles you go in. So it could just be like a month cycle or a two or 3 month cycle, like where it's so funny. Like when I see rediscovery, I'm like, you really see balance and self-care and the need to spend time in nature and outdoors and with plants and doing passions and hobbies. That's really what I see this is. Yeah, you see the importance of that, you understand the importance of that, and you see a future where you're prioritizing that time with plants and hobbies. And some of you like playing music. What is that, macrame? I think that's macrame. It's very specific. Some of you like making macrame. So if that's you, awesome. Gotta go do that some more. And then some people, it's so funny. It's talking about playing a harmonica, which I don't even know if people still do. So these are some very random specific messages, but it's talking about taking time to listen to it or play with it or yeah, or be with your plants if you love plants. Tending to them is the words they're using, tending to your plants. Yeah, and then you kind of go into this next step where you're still spending a lot of time outdoors in nature with your plants, and then it's acorns. I should look this up. This feels so important. They're like the acorns in themselves have a message here. Okay, so just according to Google real quick, it says acorns represent your potential, abundance, and wisdom and understanding. Some of those could be important, but once again, a lot of very specific messages are kind of popping up, and they're telling me that an acorn means something to you, to one person, I actually think specifically. And I just can't quite nail it. I feel like it's probably a whole story behind it, and that's why they're like, it's kind of complex to say acorn. But it's so interesting because when I think about wisdom and growth and potential and basically not making the same mistakes again, and then I see like this was that this noose, there we go, in this card, and they're telling me that you get yourself in a position where you can break the cycle, or you can kind of go back into that cycle of overgiving, burnout, basically just trying to help everyone and be everywhere. And I really feel like it's because you're a very good practitioner or healer, whatever it is that you do, and there's a high demand for you. And honestly, there isn't enough people like you, so that you come from this place of really having good boundaries, not spending too much time, not taking on too many clients, enjoying life, still enjoying life. But I see here, like, it's interesting. They're saying kind of get like cuspy about it. Like you are doing some things, but this is when things start, like, you can either keep saying no or setting those boundaries or saying you can't take people on. But then then they say the next step is though that you're certain that and you're determined that you aren't going to get too busy and burn out, and you're going to prioritize self-care and you're going to make everything work. And then they kind of say, shoot, then it happens again and you get burnt out and you're getting too busy. I hope that makes sense. It's interesting. I'm trying to understand what goes on here. The walker, the unknown, a journey. Yeah, this is so interesting. I feel like this is still very much this energy, the wise one, the weaver, doing what you love, spending time where you want to. And then I'm a little confused, a little stumped about what happens here that you kind of go back into this. But yeah, you know what? This almost could even be like determining like you try to balance out how many clients you're taking, and maybe here's like you take less in the winter, you take less clients in the summer, but then you get into a certain season and maybe you take more to compensate for the fact that you took less then, and then you think you're like still on a good line between clients and time off, and then you get too busy. It could be that. Yeah, I'm not too sure. Sorry guys. I just see good light, and then somehow it just you lose track when, but you start realizing like what happened to like setting time aside for taking care of things they wanted to, and spending time with family and doing all the things that you need to do. And then I really feel like this is practitioner based. Like you just take on a lot of clients and you get very tired. And just I keep seeing this as seeing how like basically the people that you want to help so bad end up kind of being the thing that hurts you the most in the quantity that you're seeing them. I really want to clarify that because they're saying it's like you almost take on too many and then you get really tired, and they say you can even sometimes take on their stuff because you're just seeing so many of them and you don't have enough time for self-care to like keep your energy good and high and clean and fresh. So you do see almost like they're like the analogy they're using is that like by being such an overgiver, like the people that you're trying to help and love are wounding you, but they're not doing it intentionally. I really want to make that clear. It's really just like their way of saying you're getting burnt out by trying to help as many as you can and then being too tired to help them. Yeah. So then I'm a little interested to hear about this law of attraction thing. And the God box. So it says relationships and activities that you once enjoyed are now changing as you become more sensitive and aware of energies. And then we have write any worries, concerns, or desires on a piece of paper that you put into a special container and called a God box as a way of letting go and allowing the divine to help you. So I wonder if a law of attraction thing is referencing maybe, and I'm trying to feel in if like financially, if that's why you are like overworking is because it might be like a financial failure. But as I try to feel into it, I don't feel like it is as like a valid block, and I don't want to undermine anyone, but I'm just kind of like asking, and they're like, no, like you're like you can just, if worst case happens and you take on less clients, you could just charge more, and people are still gonna be like, people feel like you're so worth it, like not to worry about if you charged more instead of taking on as many. And then the law of attraction, I almost get that you might mentor someone, someone that you might have called in, because I feel like I was saying with your energy over here of like just wanting to help so many people and just be amazing and like I don't want to say overgive, but like they're just like that's almost the word they're saying, because I think you are financially making an exchange, but like your energy is just, you need to have your fun things. You need to do the things that make you feel human and happy. And they keep coming back to tending to like your plants or tending to your family and the like arts. I just feel like this person enjoys crafts. You might not be great at crafts, but I think you love them. Like the macrame just seemed too specific and extremely random. And then the music, You might even like just like singing by a fire with like your family or friends, and it might not be beautiful, but it's just something you like to do. It's funny, as I said that, showed me like that harmonica or whatever it was, and then like maybe someone with a maraca and like someone with a guitar just like playing around a fire. So I don't know if you do that or if that just seems like a fun thing to do or not. But anyways, it seems super random. Don't know how many people actually do that. Okay. I lost track of my thought. Oh yeah, so the mentoring thing. That's what I was saying. I think you might have asked for someone who could come in, who also by default, like the clients that you have that maybe can't financially afford you because you should be more money. You are. I do get the energy that this pile could be um what's the word? Wow, my mind keeps going blank here. I keep just like gone. Everything's gone. I think I was trying to say, I think this is just going to show that I think this pile is very tired. I think you're very tired and that you need more sleep. I think it's like they're just talking about like a restlessness and that maybe you can't even sleep very well at night sometimes because you have so much that you're like that's on your plate. And I don't think it's just client wise. I think you have a lot of other things going on in life, but then the clients are kind of what energetically take the rest out of you. But anyway, so I think you've been trying to attract in a person to mentor who would be a little bit cheaper than you are because they are quite newer and you're quite more experienced, and who you know can take care of the clients that you have because you do care about the quality of service. And like I said, I think earlier, or maybe I just thought it at this point, who knows, that you really want to make sure they're getting the best service they can get. And I think you care about empowerment because just like earth angel energy coming off of you is just like, yeah, that you don't want, you've heard of people being disempowered or ripped off or maybe leaving feeling fearful or something like that, or having the same issues depending on what kind of field you're in, and you just don't want that. So you feel like there isn't enough of you, and I think that's why you're going to attract in someone to sort of take over or even like take the load off you a little bit, because like I'm saying, like whatever you're doing is like we need more people, whatever it is. You wouldn't be so tired and so busy if we didn't need more people. So I don't feel like this pile is fearful of not having enough clients. I think you're at a maturity where you know there is so many clients and there will always be so many clients, that you are in a place now where you're trying to attract in some people to mentor. You know what? I actually, at first I thought it was just one, but some of you might be taking on three students. That feels very clear because I actually think you would probably even have enough clients to send to 3 separate students. And they do say each one will be different. Each one will have a different energy, and they'll all reflect aspects of what you offer. So you're kind of like this multifaceted person, and then each student might specialize more in something that you are good at or you bring to your clients. And they'll have other things too, right? But they're saying like the 3 main characteristics that you have and that you use in your sessions will probably be found in these 3 separate people. And different clients will just automatically be attracted to different ones. 2 of them will be quite similar. I don't know why that's coming up. Yeah, 2 are going to be quite similar. Almost the same, but something key is different. I'm like trying to ask, is it gender? Is it their clairvoyance? One might be more clairsentient, one might be more clairvoyant or something like that. And then the third one just feels like completely different from the other 2. Like just, yeah, whoever doesn't resonate with one of the other 2, 100% will go to the third. And you like need that third person because they're just so unique that I feel like people who feel like outcasts or like oddballs will be so attracted to that third person. So yeah, I don't even know why they're going so detailed about this. Sorry, y'all. This might be a card reading for one person, or this might be specific messages just for one person. But yeah, the 3 does seem important. And now they're also saying, so if you have a child, you might eventually end up teaching or mentoring your child or one of your children into this, but that feels like years down the road. The three students or three people who you're gonna maybe like help kind of get some clients to or whatever it is, or train or mentor, I get the impression that they're going to be pretty soon. Like I almost feel like you knowing that you can't take on all this and that it's too draining and it's not good for your health. And I feel like, yeah, you know that. You know that. And you're prioritizing your time, like these reflection cards are saying. Like, I feel like this pile probably does have family or friends. And I don't know if it's like your children or your parents that you want to spend more time with, but the amount of clients you take can really affect that. Yeah, that's just a little side note that they're saying. So I do feel like these three students or other people you're gonna teach are gonna be very soon. If not, you're already maybe you already know them and you're gonna be darn, there goes my memory again. Yeah, that's not normal for me to just blank out completely as I'm talking, just boom, nothing. So I think this is just your energy, unfortunately, is very tired. And I feel like you could kind of forget to do a little things right now. And I think they're really saying this is like a tiredness thing. This isn't like a forever thing. Yeah. Yeah. And the God box, I think this is just cementing that. I think you're a pretty good manifester. I think you're very good at setting intention and like putting something out there and it coming in. And I think this is just coming up to remind you to, if you need something ever, just make sure you're asking for it. I think you already do that. So I almost feel like I'm telling you something you already know, but I mean, the reminder's there, so I just got to say it, right? Okay, let's get into these reflection cards. Okay, so I kind of did read them before, but I'll say it again, especially if you're having a hard time remembering things, if you're really tired. So it says, if monks and nuns do not cherish their time of practice, they will have nothing to offer the world. Find peace in your extraordinary efforts. Your work is not in vain. Oh, I feel like that's so good. Yeah, your work is not in vain. And that's so good for this, because I was saying, like, I see that you're working so hard and you're trying to help as many people as you can, but then there's still more people. There's still more people. So just know that you're doing the best that you can, and you need to take time for yourself so that you can keep helping people in the future. And then this one said, the perfect man of old looked after himself first before looking to help others. Take some time to be outside this evening. Breathe in the fresh air and breathe out the stresses of the day. Watch the sunset or reflect on the vastness of the universe as you stargaze. Enjoy Mother Nature, all she has to offer. Yeah, and this is also just so perfect because I feel like there's a very strong relationship here with this pile and Mother Earth, plants, water, rocks, you name it. If it comes from Mother Earth, I think this pile really resonates with it. So yeah, I mean, all these cards, so powerful. So powerful. Okay, I am just trying to ask if there's anything else I should be talking about before I leave this pile. I guess I'll just, as an ending note here, talk about the smoky quartz. I mean, I feel like this pile has a lot of wisdom. When I see this, so I guess my whole point that I was going to say there is that you probably already know this, but sometimes it's cool to know like what exactly it means to me when I'm grabbing things. So I see this as needing to be grounded or needing to be more in connection with Mother Earth. And everyone has their different requirements of that. And because this pile, I think, really, really does like being in relationship with Mother Earth, that if, say, you do like put your feet on the bare dirt or grass every day and you just do it for 5 minutes, I think for this pile, you're someone who might need to do it for a couple hours a day just to feel like that relationship's there. You need to like touch the plants or touch a tree's bark or roots to really feel connected to everything. So I just feel like that could be important for you all to know that that is so important to you, and it's okay to take time to do that. Okay. All right. I'm sorry. That's all I have for you. You all have a beautiful day. Don't be afraid to take some time for yourself and say no to some clients. And keep attracting in these 3 students of yours that you're going to be teaching or guiding, or I don't know if they're even students, to be honest. They could honestly, like, I think if you're going to send clients to them, they're probably going to be practitioners. But I think in comparison to your level of experience, they're going to seem like students. So yeah, maybe that helps clarify some things. So anyways, you all have a beautiful day or evening, whatever it is for you, and maybe I'll catch you around. Hello, pile 3. So it was kind of a coincidence on my part that I chose rose quartz and the romance deck. But it almost seems like anytime I choose rose quartz and I happen to choose a romance deck, somehow, some way, they all end up together. So maybe in future, if you want a card reading about love in some way, just choose whatever one happens to be rose quartz, because I somehow, without realizing it, do it every time. So anyways, let's get into it. Let's see what your guides have to say to you. I am going to be a little bit biased and think that this could have to do with either your career or romance life and how it's changed, but who knows? I shouldn't put any sort of restriction on it. So anyways, I'm just going to shuffle the cards, pull them all, and then slow the reading back down and get into what's going on with. Okay, I'm not too sure what was happening with that romance deck, but they're kind of going a little crazy. Don't usually just accidentally drop the cards everywhere. Okay, you know what? Let's start with the archetype cards. So the Gambler, the Queen. Oh, this is such a great card. So pretty. I love it. Determination, sacrifice. The Poet, relationships, vulnerability. The Weaver, transitions. And then we have over here the Herald, small regrets, longing, and the Painter, productivity, creation. I don't know why, when this card just popped up this way, I was like, wow, this makes me actually think of a geisha doll for some reason. In their like red dresses. Very beautiful, all about femininity and elegance and kind of more looking good and being a little more traditional. Not so much being their rebellious, beautiful selves, which is kind of the opposite, I think, of what this card's supposed to mean. So we'll see what's going on there. Sometimes I read cards, very much whatever they make me think of and the energy I'm getting from them. And sometimes I feel like I read cards for what they actually say. And so far today has definitely been the vibe of I just read cards by whatever energy I'm getting from them and not necessarily what they would maybe mean in an oracle book or a guidebook. So we're going to just keep going with that vibe, I guess. Yeah, I can't get over this card. I absolutely love it. So super cool. Okay, and then we're just going to read these. We have passion. We have pay attention to the red flags, forgiving and learning, And we have to be a good parent, you need to take care of yourself so you can have the physical and emotional energy to take care of your family. Quoted by Michelle Obama. Obama, there you go, couldn't say her name. When you recognize and reflect on even one good thing about yourself, you are building a bridge to a place of kindness and caring. Beautiful. Okay, we'll put those over here. I'm just gonna try to get a little bit more of a vibe. I think I'm starting to get it. Usually by the time I put all the cards down, things just click. So I think that's gonna happen here. Okay, so first thing I want to talk about, and I think you're following this pattern. This is love life. Yeah, definitely would say the way I'm reading these cards is that it's sort of your dynamic in romantic partnerships. And this is the energy you used to be in. And you know what? It's actually kind of cool. I get that some people here are going to be in this middle archetype, but I actually get that there's a lot of people who are in this end archetype. And I know the gambler seems bad, but I'm just going to trust me. It feels like really good energy coming from it. It feels like not, I'll just say this now so you're not getting worried, but the energy that I get from it is almost this mature understanding that if you write down a list of everything you want and you have these really high expectations and be like, I will only settle for this, that your soulmate, the person who's probably the best for you, isn't gonna be perfectly fitting on that list, because usually there's some things on there that aren't actually in our best interest, but we think are. And I see this as being this end place where you understand that the universe will bring you in the right soulmate, the perfect romantic partner. They're going to bring in the way you want to feel in a relationship, more so than what the list says. So this is like a very beautiful energy to get in. And why I think they chose the gambler card for this one is just saying, like, you decided that you didn't need to control who they were going to be or what you thought they should look like. You're really just letting go of that and releasing it to the universe so that this person can come find you. And it feels like such a great, healthy, like amazing energy to be in, because it really does open up your life, yourself, for the true soulmates to come in. Not like the you need to learn some hard lessons kind of soulmates, like the good, happy, loving, supportive, fun, exciting, sexual attraction type of soulmates. So it's a really great energy to end up in. Passion. I guess that's what you want. Passion. So yeah, I really do see that. And then also, as a side note here too, when I see rose quartz, I often see it as the symbol of having chosen some bad romantic partners in our life, but being in a place where we know we no longer want that for ourselves. And like being attracted to this crystal, I feel like to be attracted to it, you have to be in the energy of like wanting that more mature personal accountability, responsibility, being able to set boundaries and expectations and be compromising at the same time kind of relationship. So you're not just like in that like sort of, what's the word, materialistic kind of relationship, where I think that might even be a little bit of the energy where you used to be in, right? Where you thought you had to be looking a certain way and I really get beautiful and like done pretty and wear all this makeup. They're really talking about makeup. So you might have loved makeup. You might have liked the artistic expression of it. But there is also like a mask under it. So it's actually a really clever way of doing it. Like I feel like you do love art and the ability to draw someone's attention to a certain feature or aspect and highlight it. You think you really enjoyed that about, say, wearing makeup or wearing sort of, they say like a disguise, but I don't think it was that. I think you just chose like a certain style, a certain look to have. You chose a certain way to wear eyeliner or lipstick, or foundation, whatever it is, and you were really able to highlight what you wanted to and be in control of like the aspects and features that people would want to see. And I can't remember where I was going with this now. Yikes, this keeps happening. Happened in the last pile too. Maybe I'm getting too off topic and they're trying to bring me back. But anyways, so I can see that you were like in this place where that's how you felt society may have wanted you to prioritize your time, or like that's just like the impressions society gave you that you should be focusing is on how you looked and how to like control how people saw you. And I think you might have tried to well, I shouldn't say that. I think because of that way of viewing the world and that way of seeing the world, you were like maybe more attracted to people as partners physically than you were to their personalities. So say their personalities were really uninteresting, or say they just were very like macho or very stereotyping. They weren't even really being themselves. They were putting on a front, sort of like how you were. Like, I don't want this to sound like you're in no way two-faced. I'm like, somebody's thinking that, please don't think that. It's just saying like there's this youthful energy of not being sure if you would be accepted for like a beautiful person wearing no makeup and not doing their hair and wearing sweatpants. And that's just, I think that's pretty normal for young adulthood and even kind of like middle aged. And even if you're in like an older generation, like even older generations still have that pressure because it was so engraved in them. So this energy here is really talking about in your romance is that you came from a place where you kind of thought that romantic partnership compatibility might have been more on a physical level, or like if they're good looking, you're good looking, then you're compatible. If they know how to dress nice and they have the same style as you, then they're compatible. And how I see this, so this is what's interesting. So it says longings and small regrets. So I actually, when I looked at this card, the first thing I noticed was that you see how there's like this flower here. See if I can zoom in on it. There's this flower around the snake's neck. And it's interesting because when I saw that flower, I was like, wow, that looks a lot like a type of weed that is super beautiful. It's purple. I mean, it looks gorgeous, but the problem is actually what they call a noxious weed because it will take over everything and things won't grow. Your grass won't grow very well. It just grows everywhere. So it's beautiful, but it's actually kind of a pest because it gets in the way of everything else. And I just thought that is a perfect analogy for these previous partners for you. Like I see you as this, it almost seems like I would see this snake as like a girl, like a younger girl, and that this person, the people you're attracting in, were intimidated or scared of you stepping into like the powerful woman that you would someday be, or like being strong in your feminine. And that's even what I got with that geisha doll thing I was talking about here, where I was saying like there in that culture was so important for them to be super polite, super proper, super modest, but what's the word? Almost like you'd almost describe it as like they had to be like shy and like not too forward and not too dominating, and they had to be kind of like very like gentle good girls, proper good girls. Like I'm not even sure if I'm describing that energy properly, and I see that like message reiterated here when I see like that these romantic partners that you were attracting in during this phase. So I don't think you attract them in anymore. I think this is all stuff you're working through. I'm just explaining it because I feel like it's kind of an interesting concept to try to verbalize so you understand how far you've come. Because like I said, I think some of you are in here and I think some of you are actually here now. So really just want this card reading to be about how you can recognize and appreciate how far you've come and how much work you've done and just how great you're doing. So Yeah, if you're like, why are you really stuck on this? Yes, I'm trying to point out that these people were essentially holding you back from being the strong, empowered version of yourself, for being really you, unforgivably you. So that's why these things, I think, didn't work. They didn't feel balanced. It felt like if this wasn't a heterosexual relationship, that's the energy they're showing me. So forgive me if this isn't your case. I always just go by dominant energy. It is a general card reading, so always go by the dominant energy. I see this as like the male energy being more dominant than the feminine, and it's coming from a male partner being wanting like more submissive and like a pretty woman. I know that sounds so bad, but that is what they're telling me. It's like kind of that cliche old school way where women were meant to kind of be seen, not heard, kind of meant to um, be this like beautiful, proper, desirable woman, and kind of more of a fantasy than really a personality. And I think that you are done with that. Let's just like, yeah, I think that's all I need to say about this phase is that like you even get like the longing, like I see um like you longed for more than that. You longed to have more than that. But this is just what was normal back then. Everyone was in this. Like that was just how people talked. Like, oh, he's good looking, she's good looking, so they should be together. Or, he's not very good looking, he's not very cool, then he should be with a girl who isn't very good looking or very cool. And it's so weird that that was ever a thing. But I mean, it was a thing. I even remember being in that world, right? So it's not that long ago. Okay, so anyways, we moved out of that. You moved out of that. I moved out of that. All of us are moving out of that. And that is a huge step to take in itself because it's basically taking a step in understanding your value and that you don't need to be this to be beautiful and loved and valuable. And I think this is what all of this journey is about. So it is actually so incredibly appropriate that the card, the Queen, came out for this pile because I think this just portrays the fact that you are stepping into a place where you understand your value and you're not going to stay this like unconfident girl energy. You're stepping into this powerful, I know my value, I know my worth. I know that it doesn't matter what makeup I wear, what clothes I put on, I still have value at the end of the day. You do it. Maybe, I mean, you might still wear makeup, you may still put on nice clothes because you enjoy it. You love the artistic expression of it, but you know you don't need it. You could go run around outside naked and you'd be just as beautiful as if you were wearing the most beautiful dress or sweatpants or anything. And this is such a great energy to have gotten to. It's just appreciating and knowing your beauty. It's great. It's great. I love it. I love it. And I even see that instead of you thinking that like you needed a male to be truly valuable, you see now that you are the value. You don't even need the male to be valuable, but you do like want a partner. That's the energy I get for this pile. Is you do want a partner, a romantic partner to amplify your beauty and who you are, but you don't want them to dominate or take over your identity or who you are. And this is like such a great energy to be in. So awesome. And very mature. I have to keep saying that. This feels so mature, so mature. And like even some people age wise might not get to this in their lifetime. So awesome. Super great. If you're not there already, you're gonna head there. So don't worry. I don't think anyone watching this is still in this energy. This feels very past. This feels long time ago. So I think most of you are here or here. So great job. Awesome. Keep up the good work. The Weaver, rediscovery and transition. So this might be pretty self-explanatory in this. Like, I think something happens. You in this past, you start to realize that there's that longing. There's like the want for more, like a deeper connection. You want to be you. You want to like even know who you are outside of like what societal pressures or what your peers or your parents or people have told you you should be or what makes like a valuable person or woman or whatever it is. So I see you go into this phase of like self-discovery and just really seeing you for who you are. Like, even look at the eye there. Like, I feel like this eye here really says like being able to see who you are, to see your value. So yeah, I'll just can't remember where I was at. Okay, so I know I was talking somewhere over here. So the poet, relationships and vulnerability. So this also is very interesting because I think this is just you discovering that, like, the type of connection you want, basically. So that you want vulnerability, you want to be seen, understood, and supported by your partner. And I feel like this is like the desire of wanting someone who has like your back. Like, if someone isn't being kind to you at like a party or a get together, you want someone who would speak up for you or say, hey, man, that's not true, or that's not okay to be saying that. Or, and then at the same time, I think, say, if you have like a bit of an uh, argument, or you have a problem with a family member, you want like this partner to have your back and hear your side of it. And maybe in the past, like, maybe your partner would say, oh, your family seems great, you're just like, I don't know, being silly or something like that. I don't know the exact situation, but they're just saying you want someone who has your back, who sees your side, who's got you, who supports you, and you support them. Yeah, super. It's just like a super great, healthy soulmate kind of relationship. That's how I see it. And that you're able to, like, yeah, be vulnerable and even like share things that maybe you're ashamed of, or share things that you wouldn't just go and tell anybody. You really want to have that kind of connection. And I actually even get that you want like maybe like marriage material is something they're saying, someone where you would marry them. And it doesn't mean that you have to want to get married. They're just saying that type of relationship where you see it lasting forever, whether you physically get married or not, or you sign like a declaration of marriage or not. I think that's what they're saying. Like, you'd put it in writing. I don't know if that means something to you, but they're saying that expression. You'd put it in writing. Um, yeah. I'm just trying to ask if there's anything else here, but this seems like it was quite a big phase. Like, I know I'm not talking about this phase very much, but they're just really talking about how like there was so much growth. There was so much like limiting the belief and maybe inner child wounding and peer pressure and just societal pressures and standards and norms that you had to dissect and go through in your head and figure out and dissolve. So this is a huge undertaking and undergoing that's going on here. So like I said, I think a lot of you have gotten out of that, and now you're in this energy of just letting the world and the universe bring you that soulmate that is going to have all these things that you want. Because you're basically right now, in this area of your life, whether you're in it or you just came out of it, you're setting the standards for yourself that you know you deserve. And you're setting like the standards for your partner. And like I said, I don't think this is like going to be like they have to be like blue eyed. They have to have a certain colored hair. They have to work out at the gym. I think this is saying like you just are, you know, the feeling you want to have when they're around. You know how you want them to make you feel. You know how you want to be supported by them. You know the connection you want to have. It's all about how you want to feel. Not about looks, which is the opposite. That you came from like a very material, very what things look like relationship, and now you want the opposite. You want that soul deep connection. And like I said, this is big work. It's really amazing that some of you have gone through it and finished it already, and the rest of you are still like digesting some things. But honestly, like, great job. The fact that you're doing it is incredible. It wasn't easy. I feel like there's even like they're saying that there could have been some brainwashing you had to deal with, where you're just told something so much that you just started to believe it, whether you realized it or not. So you're really seeing the truth of who you are and what you want. And then some of the advice cards they have here. So passion. Yeah, this is great. Allow your heart and soul to sing with joy. I think this is great because I think over here there wasn't actually a lot of passion. There maybe was some sexual attraction, some good looks, but I think on a soul level, they didn't really ignite your soul. Didn't really like make you excited about things or feel like just like in love with life. And I think that's what you're coming from here. So I keep saying working on it. It doesn't mean a lot of you I think are over this, but some of you are still working on this, on finding someone who ignites the passion in you and makes you excited to do things, to go on adventures, to go on dates with them. You get the crazy butterflies and it doesn't end. And then next here for advice cards, they have forgiving and learning. As you release and heal the past, you experience more love in your present moments. Yeah, I think this is just really reconfirming about this how much work is going on in this area. Like, I don't know. I just feel like nobody really acknowledges that enough. Like so many people are just like, oh, you find somebody and if you both have a sexual attraction, then it works. If you have a couple things in common, it works. Like, no, like you want more than that. You want that relationship that stays alive and stays fiery and doesn't get old, and you work through problems and you love each other and you support each other. And like I said, they amplify the beautiful qualities about you. You don't want just like someone that you're their side arm candy. They keep saying that, like you're just there on their arm. You're just like you're just an addition to them. You want someone who you really are equal, and they make you better. They make you more radiant and more beautiful version of yourself. So I think there's a lot, like they're really confirming here, of like digesting and digging up old beliefs you had, lots of limiting belief work, lots of like family and societal work here. I think your mom or your dad might have like reiterated these beliefs about like that whole concept I was saying, where it's like if they both look good then they're a good partner, or if they both were like average people then they're good people. Like a beautiful woman must be with a beautiful man and a ugly man must be with an ugly woman. And it's like such a weird thing. And I feel like you felt like you had to be so beautiful so you could deserve a beautiful man, or whatever the situation was for you. And I just feel like this is saying like you're forgiving that, you're learning that, you're forgiving yourself for ever buying into that because you just didn't know any better. And so many people, like social media and all that, was such like a cement, like it cemented those beliefs. They didn't have like other things. Now they're starting to get better, but even now, like there's still like that pressure, I think, that people still are shameful unless they are like a certain perceived beauty, which is almost unattainable if we're being honest, because we always think there's something not beautiful about ourselves if we're being that picky and that materialistic and that judgmental, and we're not looking at anything else about the person. Anyways, so I think you're really doing a lot of work, or you've really done a lot of work, and just yes, awesome job. I think I think this could also still be a reminder to forgive yourself and be easy on yourself. You're really doing everything you can. And then this other advice card here, it says, pay attention to the red flags. Seeing this card, I think this is just a great reminder. So in the angel world, we say there's an archangel that comes in to just send us what we used to attract in, to just double check that we don't want it anymore. And I think this card is coming in to say that you might, if you've been looking for someone to date, or you've been on online dating or something like that, and you're getting some of these old types of people coming into your life, these like very beautiful romantic partners, but don't have a lot of depth to them, because not because there isn't depth, but they haven't done this work that you've done and you are doing. So they're still in the maturity that you were when you were younger. So I want that to be clear. They're not bad people. They still have a lot of shame that they are hiding from themselves, hiding from other people. They put their value only on looks and on the looks of other, and that's just not what you want. So when I see pay attention to red flags, they're saying they are those people and they're not going to be around forever. They're just double checking that you don't want that anymore. It's kind of like the universe testing you, and you could see it as a test, but I mean, it's also just saying, hey, just want to make sure that you know you don't want this anymore. Don't think you can't have it. You could have it again and again if you wanted, but just seeing if you want it. And once you say no, I think even once or twice, then you'll stop attracting that in. it will be gone. The universe will get the picture, the angel will stop sending those people, and you'll start getting this soulmate coming towards you. It's funny because as soon as I see us like say no and energetically like say yes, officially, all the work I've done, I am putting into action and saying no to this type of person. You think all of a sudden it's almost like our soulmate wakes up from the other side of the world and they like hear a faint calling and then they come and find us. That's how I almost see it. And it's like, so you might not know that you just did such a powerful thing, but I see that soulmate like, all right, somehow, maybe they're gonna get a job opportunity. Maybe they're gonna go visit their aunt and then they're gonna come and happen to run into you. And it seems like one of those crazy coincidences, but it's really like that energetic decision that you make, that energetic proof that no, you're not going to say yes to these people anymore. Sorry, it's more than energetic. It's when you physically take action and verbalize and say, no, I'm not going to take that type of person anymore. I want something different. That soulmate, I would say, opens their eyes and starts being pulled towards you. It's so funny. It's kind of like a funny visual that I have there, but that's how I see it. That you're ready, and if they're ready, then it will just happen. So I think that is what's happening. Either you are, I think they're saying some of you might still be getting a couple of these tests, like these old people you attracted in, and once you say no to them, I think that soulmate energy is going to start finding their way. But this is where you have to be patient, because say they live on the other side of the world, they might need a year to get there, and that sucks, but they might just need that much time to get there physically with like visas and all this stuff. Or who knows, maybe the next week you meet them and they seem amazing, but you're just friends with them, and then eventually it turns out that you start dating them and it's just like a funny story in the end. Yeah. Anyways, I want to read these advice cards. So it says, when you recognize and reflect on even one good thing about yourself, you are building a bridge to a place of kindness and caring. The suggestion is to write down one of your favorite traits about yourself. Celebrate why you love this about yourself. This is actually really great for this pile. I mean, I guess cards are always great when you pull them for a pile, but I mean, this is literally talking about how you get to like this place where you see yourself as being just beautiful and perfect just as you are. And I think doing exercises like this, where you write down things that you admire about yourself, that you love about yourself, is a great place to start. Because if you think about it, so maybe this is easy for you, or maybe this just seems annoying to you. When you're in this energy, this was probably really, really hard, almost impossible. You wouldn't look at this and you'd push it away because it would almost make you angry because you didn't want to have to do it. I think you're in a place now where this might seem a little awkward, a little weird, but you might be able to see the value in actually getting yourself to be a little uncomfortable and like give yourself a compliment. So that's why I think it's a good thing. If it makes you feel a little weird and a little uncomfortable in that sense, because it's unfamiliar and not something you normally do, then that is good. But if you're, I don't know, if you're not ready for it, then I guess just, don't do it. I don't ever want to push anyone out of their comfort zone, but I feel like this is a great suggestion because it's just uncomfortable enough because you don't do it. But it's not, you're not in this energy anymore where it makes you angry and frustrated. So it's like a good stepping stone. So this one says, to be a good parent, you need to take care of yourself so that you can have the physical and emotional energy to take care of your family. If you are a parent to a child or pet, what are your favorite ways to take care of yourself? How can you ensure that you have the time for these each day? Yeah, so a lot about self-care and honoring yourself, which is just great. I actually do think some of you are parents. Are you parents? Some of you are single parents, and some of you, are just I think dog parents more specifically. I mean, I have 4 cats. If you're a cat parent, that's also super awesome. But I have the impression that there's a little more of a dog parent energy where it's like you make sure they go for their 2 walks every day, and you like take really good care of them, and you buy them like really awesome bones and stuff like that, or really good treats, and you think about them all the time, but you don't always think about if you just wanted to do something, which is funny to say that about someone with a pet, but I mean, pet parents really do have a lot of same attributes as I think parents. So yeah. Okay. I'm trying to see if there's anything else to talk about. I mean, I always feel like giving you more information is sometimes nice, but I think they're really telling me you got this in the bag. There's some of you that are still really trying to work on this, but um you're doing so good and you've come so far. I know I've said that so many times already, but you really just have. I mean, you're in this such a more mature, healthy place. And I think there's so much less shame and like worry about what you look like. And there's just so much more confidence growing. And it's just really beautiful to see how you are growing into this like proud version of yourself. It's not cocky, it's proud. You're not hiding behind any masks or hiding behind a false version of you. You're really stepping into your true self. And I truly believe you're going to find this soulmate. Yeah. You've done too much work not to. They're just going to naturally come in energetically because you're just going to be in such a good place and you're going to energetically be on the same frequency now to meet. Okay. Well, this is where I'm going to leave it. I hope you all have a beautiful morning or evening, afternoon, whatever it is for you. And maybe I'll see you around. If you would like the Reiki session, it will be just after this reading. It's funny, after doing all 3 piles, they still don't know if I'll do a crystal ball session or a Reiki session or both. So yeah, I'll have to think on that for a second here. So anyways, you have a good one and I will see you around. Hello, everyone. So, welcome to the Reiki portion / singing bowl session of this card reading. I am just going to focus on the heart chakra, the third eye, and the sacral chakra. I really wanted to do these two. These two. You can't see my hands. As I just felt like every pile could use some more joy and excitement and passion moving forward. Some of you actually got a passion card, so thought that'd be very appropriate. And then the heart, because it just seemed like for all the piles there was a lot of heart opening and self-love work that was done, and I just feel like this could be a really good bowl to be playing for you all. And the third eye I also wanted because several of you got lots of cards with eyes on them, and just I really wanted to help get it realigned or attuned or at the frequency that it likes being at, to just really help you see the potential of future coming forward for you, or see the beauty of the life coming to you. Really kind of just wanted to help with your psychic abilities and your how you see yourself and seeing it for who you really are and what you really are. And just, yeah, I guess overall, I just wanted to help you feel good, feel more open, more loved, more excited, and see yourselves clearer. So that's why I chose these 3 bowls. So I'm just going to take a few moments here to sort of call in the Reiki energy, and then I will start playing the bowls. So that will be my intention, is just to make sure that at least these 3 chakras are balanced and back at the frequency that it likes to vibrate at, so that you're just on the best level you can be on. Okay, so I'm going to get started here. And then some people do like to lie down with their eyes closed for this. I think will only be about 5-10 minutes. We'll see how long it ends up going, as I know a lot of people don't have a lot of time. So, okay, now we're actually going to start. All right, that's the end of the session, everyone. Welcome back. Every time I start to play the singing bowls, I just think, oh, a few minutes isn't enough. Like, I feel like at first there's a resistance in the energy and the chakras because they're not quite certain about it, and then once they really start to embrace that vibration and go back into that harmonized state that they want to be at that hertz or that frequency they want to be at, then all of a sudden I feel like I can just tell everyone's chakras are like, please keep going. I could just sit here forever, and it starts to feel really good. So if you ever have an opportunity to go to a singing bowl session in person, highly recommend it, especially with my audio equipment, because I am only using the speaker on my camera because the other speakers I found actually had more feedback. So it sounds so different in person. There's just such a much nicer sound. So I would really just recommend doing it in person session or playing them for yourself, even intuitively. You could just ask for your guides to guide you on which bowls and how to play them in that moment, and they'll guide you. Okay, so anyways, you all have a good one. I hope you have a wonderful day or night, whatever it is for you, and catch you in another video.